So we're here today outside Manchester Piccadilly Station, but we're not here to talk about the history for once, but rather the future. Specifically, we're going to be talking about HS2 and Manchester Piccadilly, its Eastern End terminus station in 2040. So stay tuned. So if you live overseas and you don't know what HS2 is, or you're just a Brit and decided to ignore everything you've heard about it, it's essentially a high-speed, multi-billion pound railway project in the UK, in summary. There is an entire video I've made about it, which I'll put in one of these corners, so go check that out if you're interested. So Manchester, where we are now, will be the terminus of the eastern end of HS2 in 2035 to 2040 at this moment in time. But I'm here today to talk about some of the future plans for the station, some you might not have seen before. So the HS2 trains will terminate at Manchester Piccadilly itself, so an extension to the original station is needed. But if you're Mancunian, is that even the right term? If you're from Manchester or been here before, you'll know that the current station is packed on all sides with existing buildings. So where's the extension going? Well, it's actually heading on the northeast section of the current station, right here where I'm standing now. So yes, the buildings either side of me, which is this government-owned office block as well as the NCP car park, are getting knocked down to make way for the new station. To give you a bit more context where I actually am, I'm actually on Sheffield Street, which is on the northeast side of Manchester Station. So towards my right, we have the end of the platforms of Manchester Piccadilly Station, which is basically just above me. And that square one building in the background will essentially be the end of the HS2 platforms. Meanwhile, if I turn around behind me, I am actually underneath Manchester Piccadilly Station itself, which I never knew you could get to. But here, we actually have the platforms above us. So this section and all the way over there will be the future HS2 platforms. The redevelopment of Manchester is expected to create 40,000 new jobs and 13,000 new homes. One of the biggest opportunities in the UK from HS2, particularly for transport, because Manchester will be the future hub of the Northern Powerhouse Rail, HS3, whatever you want to call it. The new Northern High-Speed Rail scheme looks like it's actually making some headway. So you might not think much is happening, but you'd in fact be wrong. Manchester City Council have actually announced a plan for HS2 and the surrounding area back in 2014. So let's dig into it a little bit. Manchester City Council produced this strategic regional framework in 2014, which is an initial appraisal of developing Manchester and acting as a catalyst for the city. The area in question is shown here in red, with HS2 and the Northern Powerhouse Rail Hub being identified. What is being suggested is a gateway hub for the city, with new residential tower blocks, offices and commercial development, as well as parks and improved connectivity to the surrounding areas. The framework also shows us buildings ranging from 5 to 12 stories in height, with a mixture of land uses and some strong forms such as commercial streets and public space. Now, as an urban planner myself, I can see some of the key principles they're trying to draw out in this master plan. There are also some sketches and drawings which I'll flick through now, so you can have a look and see what kind of idea and place they're trying to make. There are also plans to rejuvenate the Medlock River, and also in the proposed station itself there are quite a few sketches of what it could look like. Now, just to clarify, this is by no means going to happen and is subject to change or complete cancellation if HS2 never reaches the city. This document is also far more in depth than I've shown here, so check the link out below before coming to any conclusions, as it has been justified. Not only has Manchester City Council been busy, but so has the government. Some of you may know there's been this OKV review, which is essentially to check that HS2 is still obtaining their goals, still creating everything they promised, and if any adjustments can be made to get the good and bad sort of averaged out a little bit more. But anyway, the OKV review led to some design changes for the western leg. So we're going to go into that now and see what changes have been made from the original plans. Well, the number of platforms has increased from 4 originally proposed at Manchester Piccadilly to 6. This, along with the alignment change, moving the route approximately 120 meters west to avoid the Arwick depot, which Transpennine trains use, and where the porter was going originally. This will mean less construction and less demolishing and moving depots. A junction will also be built heading to Leeds, which is interesting, and some forward thinking is done here, and it could mean HS2 platforms will be ready for Northern Powerhouse trains, as well as the newly proposed ones on the other side of the station. Other changes include the road network around Manchester Piccadilly, namely Fairfield Street and all of these, which will form a new gyratory system. Metrolink has also been looked about in this newly proposed review, and it's basically where to put it. Currently, it comes out of this tunnel over here, which just goes underneath Manchester Piccadilly Station, which is on top, heading off to another station down the line somewhere down there. But where's it going to be put when HS2 actually comes along? Well, there are plans to either put it underneath the HS2 platforms, leave it where it is now, or create a new station underneath the Northern Powerhouse rail stations. And based on the review, I believe the HS2 platforms are the one they are looking at. Although this is still to be decided, obviously it being 20 years in the future. I also want to mention that all these drawings you've seen here are in the public domain, so you can easily access them if you need to. I'll put the links down below for you to check out in more detail. So we're at Manchester and we want to leave. What will HS2 do for us? Well, some key destinations from Manchester Piccadilly are Manchester Airport, which currently takes 18 minutes but will be reduced down to 7 with HS2. Journeys to Birmingham Interchange, which will take 106 minutes, reduced down to 37. There's also journeys to Curzon Street, which currently take 88 minutes today, reduced down to 40 minutes. And of course to the capital, which currently takes 2 hours and 7 minutes, being reduced down by an hour to just 67 minutes. Anyway all, it's time to head back down south. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. As always, take care and I'll see you next time.